There are 7 reasons why your visa is rejected when you're applying for a US student visa. Well, in this video, I'm going to share all those 7 reasons why student visa is rejected. My name is Faisal. I'm the founder and CEO of Scholarden. I have been mentoring students for the last 9 years, and in those last 9 years, I have dealt with thousands of students and helped hundreds of students to get their US student visa with a 100% approval rate. So the 7 reasons why the student's visa are rejected are as follows. Number 1, the agents or the consultant they apply on behalf of you for the US education. Let's say the consultant, the agents which are based in your home countries, they apply to the universities where they get a maximum commission. So they don't care if the university is good or bad, they only care about the commission. So for example, they apply to a blacklisted university where they're getting the maximum commission if you get admitted over there. Let me explain how this entire process works. So every consultant who actually works on behalf of universities, they get commission on the basis of you securing an admission on those universities. And once you get an admission, you pay some money to the university as a tuition fee. And those are like not small amount, those like thousands of dollars, like $40,000, $60,000, $30,000. It's a lot of money, right? So when you pay these fees to the universities, the consultant or the agents, they get commission from the university directly. So the way it works is that you're paying to the university and the university is paying to the agent and the agent gets the commission. So for agent, they don't care about the university ranking, they don't care about the repute of the university, they only care about the commission. That part is clear, right? When you apply to the universities through agents, that their top priority would be to get the maximum commission. So the universities with a low rank or the universities where the repute is not good, they will offer the maximum commission to the agents. So the agent responsibility is to get the maximum people in those universities where they get the maximum amount of commission from those universities. While applying and getting admission to those blacklisted universities or the low repute universities, when you appear for the interview, so the visa officer understand that this student is not a genuine because he has applied to a consultant and those universities are already blacklisted by the visa officer. So that's the number 1 reason why you see more than 90% of the rejected cases through consultants. That's number 1. Second important thing is that you are not a genuine student when you see that you're applying through a consultant, you're not applying directly yourself. So that creates a red flag for the visa officer. Also, the second thing which the visa officer look into that is that when they ask you certain question during the interview, they ask you, where are you applying? Or why are you applying to this university? Or where else have you applied? So during those initial conversation with the visa officer, you fumble or you are not very confident because you did not apply yourself, the consultant actually applied on your behalf. So you're not well prepared for it. And as a result of that, the visa officer judge you on the just basis of your responses and how confident you are and how you're answering the question. They figure out that you are not a genuine student and they make a decision right away that they're not going to grant you a visa. Also, being a genuine students, an important aspect is that students end up not applying to good ranked universities. So some students actually end up applying to the low ranked universities. And this is also a red flag for the visa officer because they want to see either if you're a genuine student, you'll be going to a good school which are among the at least top 200 universities in the US. And if it's a scholarship, then it's great. If it's not, then they also look into that, how you're going to manage your financials. And even if it's a partial funding, you need to make the whole story of how you're going to seek your education and how you're going to arrange funds accordingly. That's the number 1 reason why they consider you're not a genuine student and hence the rejection. The second important aspect is the financial aspect. Every student who are going to the US has to ensure that they're financially well equipped to pursue their studies. Why I'm saying that? For example, US education is very expensive and the living expense is also very high. So when you want to go to the US on education, you need to make sure you have either your tuition is covered financially and your living expenses are covered financially as well. Imagine you're going for a master's program and your tuition fees is $40,000. So you need to make sure either that $40,000 is being paid by the university, that in the form of scholarship, in the form of grant or anything like that, or you are personally self-financing that amount. And if you're self-financing that amount, they need to look at how you're going to arrange your funds. Either you parents are going to help you with that, or you have the parents have sold some property, or they have some business that they're generating enough revenue, or your parents are doctors or lawyers or any other profession where they're making a lot of money and they're sponsoring you for that. So they need to look at genuinely like how you're going to arrange those funds. Some students also have arranged loans as well and they're able to get the visa, but they also need to explain they're going to cover that loan aspect and get the education. That's for the tuition fee. For the living expenses, that's an easy part because in the US, when you're on an F1 visa, which is a student visa, you're allowed to work 20 hours per week. In that 20 hours, you can easily manage your living expenses. So living expenses is not a big concern for the visa officer, but yes, arranging a tuition fee is a concern. And imagine you are going for an undergrad program or you're going for a program which is very expensive, let's say 80,000 US dollar, and you don't have the right means or you cannot show the right means that how you're going to arrange those funds. And that's where the visa officer gives you a straight away rejection based on looking at your financial documents and the financial asking about the financial proof or stuff like that. And if you're not able to answer those questions correctly, they'll make their mind and they'll give you the rejection right away. And the third piece is that your home ties. Home ties is basically a mix of genuine student as a student going to the US as a genuine person, and secondly your financial aspect. And they also look into how these things are going to impact your career or how well established or good you are in your home country that you will return back going to the US. So they look into the whole package of one student going to the US for X or Y education, and does he has a job over here? Does he have kids or family here? Does he have parents and a business and stuff like that? They look into the whole thing and they make up a mind, okay, this student really needs to go to the US or not. So that's really important as well. The fourth reason that actually caused the rejection is your interview prep. So a lot of students who even have a scholarship in the US who are going to a good rank universities, they're unable to get the US visa because they cannot prepare well for the interview and they fumble their interview because they are unable to convince the visa officer because they did not prepare well for the interview. And there are certain strategies where you can improve your interview skills, and we do help students with those things as well. Because of the lack of those interview skills, when you're unable to answer certain questions the visa officer is asked, you end up not getting the visa. So the fifth aspect is you have some relatives or sibling or cousins living in the US and you are going to stay with them during your education. That's a big no because the visa officer want you to be independent. They don't want you to be genuinely linked with somebody who is a US immigrant. And you don't want to be dependent on them because it clearly shows that you have plans to be an immigrant in the US, and that's not what they're looking for. It's important to understand the US F1 visa is a non-immigrant visa, which means that the intent of that visa is that you're not going to stay in the US and become an immigrant or getting a green card or job eventually in the end. Yes, a lot of students or the majority of students who actually go to the US, they end up getting settled in the US. That's a different case. Once you're applying for the visa, at that stage you don't need to show that intent, and it's important that you don't need to show some ties like that, like you have a relatives or cousins who are living there in the same state or same city where your university is. Actually, that makes your case a very weak case, and that results in a rejection as well. A background check, for example, if you have any criminal background or if you have any background which the US visa does not, or US government does not want you to be in the US. For example, I have seen cases where students have been rejected based on their background check, and that can be multiple reasons. And that's something also important to understand, that this is also a reason why the visa can be rejected based on your background, which is purely dead by the US government officials. And if you're really a genuine student and if you're a law-abiding student, or if you are genuinely going to the US and you have not committed any crime, then you have no issues coming to the US on F1 visa. And the last thing which causes the rejection is lack of proper documentation. You might have made a mistake during filling your visa application form, or you have not brought up your documentation, or you have some other reasons where you have end up you're doing a mistake. Considering all the reasons that I've explained, all those 7 reasons, I still have 100% success rate on my student F1 visa status for all the students that are coming to the US. I prepare them with the interview. I come up with the strategy and plan, and also help them to craft their how to answer this question, how to answer that question, and then I prepare them with mock interviews. So I give them a whole service from one end to the end and make sure that they genuinely come to the US on a F1 visa and complete their education and fulfill their American dream. And I hope you like this video. For more videos, stay tuned and good luck.